Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. Today, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah has reiterated that Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is an integral part of India, stating that no one can deny India's rights over Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. He even went on to say that India's proactive steps towards PoK issue will be taken at the right time. Amit Shah's comments came in after over 1,000 locals were reportedly outside on the streets in PoK protesting against inflation, increased taxes and reduction in subsidies. Since 10th of May, there are locals who have taken out to the streets, bringing life to a halt. There were as many as 4 people that have been killed, with the Pakistani Rangers attacking and tear gas shelling the people of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. On 13th of May, the Pakistani forces unlawfully deployed in PoK and opened fire on the protesters. Amid the talks regarding the ongoing violent protests in PoK, even External Affairs Minister Jaishankar has spoken that PoK was and always will be part of India. Let's quickly listen in to the 2 statements that have been made by the Indian leaders.
देखिए, PoK पाक ऑक्यूपाई कश्मीर का जहां तक सवाल है, ये केवल भारतीय जनता पार्टी नहीं, देश की संसद का कमिटमेंट है कि पाक ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर भारत का हिस्सा है और इस पर हमारा अधिकार है। इसको कोई झुठला नहीं सकता। ये आज जो फारूक अब्दुल्ला जी और कांग्रेस के नेता कह रहे हैं कि पाकिस्तान के पास एटम बम है, तो उनको सम्मान करिए, पाक ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर का डिमांड न करिए। मैं उनको पूछना चाहता हूं कि 130 करोड़ की आबादी वाला, जनसंख्या वाला एटॉमिक पावर भारत, ये महान देश क्या किसी से डरकर अपने अधिकार जाने देगा? किस प्रकार की सोच है? और राहुल बाबा ने देश की जनता के सामने एक्सप्लेन करना चाहिए, इनके अलायंस के नेता और इनकी पार्टी के नेता क्या कहना चाहते हैं।
There is a certain ferment happening in PoK. I think you can see it in social media, you can see it on television. The analysis of it is very complex, but definitely I have no doubt in my own mind that someone living in PoK is comparing their situation with someone actually living in Jammu and Kashmir and saying that, how is it that people today are actually progressing there? And they know that sense of being under occupation, of being discriminated, of being treated badly. I think clearly that any such comparison would be preying on their minds.
Professor Madhav Nalapat, one very clear statement by Amit Shah was that I have taken proactive steps to build the narrative, to not just say that Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is ours, but have made significant steps to let the world know, let Pakistan know that PoK is part of India. Amongst those significant steps, the number one was when the delimitation exercise was done, and there have been 24 seats that have at last been reserved for Pakistan-occupied Kashmir in the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly. The second most important thing that has been done by the government of India of a multi-crore rehabilitation plan for the people who have been displaced from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and shifted to Jammu and Kashmir.
Well, I'd like to say, Megha, that it's good that that kind of a plan has been put in place for a simple reason that the Pakistan military has systematically cleansed, if I use the word cleansed, and frankly, it's hardly the right word to use, has completely removed Kashmiri-speaking people from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Kashmiri-speaking people have been forcibly removed from there, and it's a horrific kind of situation that they are facing, that in their own part of India, they are facing discrimination of a kind that is the very opposite of circumstance of what's happening in the rest of Kashmir, the part that fortunately we retained control of in 1947-48, where the people of Kashmir are having benefits that are unimaginable to the people just across the frontier. So I think Jaishankar is absolutely right. This artificial frontier will go, and the reality is that people across this artificial frontier are comparing notes, and from our side, they're comparing what's happening in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and vice versa.
Right.
And the huge difference is making it very obvious as to whether or not India is a much better option than Pakistan.
Ambassador Ashok Sajjanar, there were never two doubts about which side of the country would people of Pakistan occupied Kashmir would like to live. It has always been part of India, and that has been the sentiment of the people all along. There have been hundreds and thousands that have been displaced. They have been provided home. They have been provided rehabilitation in Kashmir. And the idea is for India to once again reintegrate itself with Pakistan occupied Kashmir becoming Jammu and Kashmir. When there is a statement that gets made, when there are 24 seats that are reserved for assembly elections in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, what is the message that goes out to Pakistan, but not just Pakistan, rest of the world as well, who at one point of time in the past would have raised eyebrows and even perhaps poked India, raised questions and concerns about India's stand and the announcement being made, today accepts it willingly of the action that India takes?
Yeah, thank you very much, Megha. I think the message is very clear that surely, steadily, maybe a little slowly, but India is moving towards the reintegration of Pakistan occupied Kashmir with India. And there are these steps being taken. You know, so far, the narrative that has been falsely spread by Pakistan is that there is oppression in the part that of Kashmir that continues to be with India, that has been with India, that there is oppression here, there is violence, there is, and that is why stone pelting takes place. That is why, you know, the ordinary Kashmiri people are killed here. But I think right now, after the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, I think it is clear not only to the people of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but I think it's very clear to the whole world that the situation in Kashmir, as it has evolved over the last, since 2019, is so much better over the last 4-5 years, is so much better. There is peace, there is tranquility, there is quiet. There is, in terms of number of tourists who are coming in there, that has been unprecedented. We even had the G20 meeting, one of the working group meetings there. In terms of the investments that are taking place, they are huge. Even from West Asia, from the United Arab Emirates, there are huge investments in the field of tourism, in the field of hospitality. It's happening. And I think the clinching evidence is what has happened just 2 days ago when we had the largest proportion since 1996, largest percentage of people coming out to vote. So I think this definitely message is going out, and people in the age of social media, I think people in Pakistan occupied Kashmir are able to see this. And that is why they have come out onto the streets.
Yeah.
So to come to your question, briefly, I think the message is that the day of the reintegration of Pakistan occupied Kashmir with India is not far away.
Major General Dhruv Katoch, when a civil war-like situation takes place in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, how difficult does it become for the people to continue to face the atrocities of Pakistan, of the Pakistan authorities? And is this now going to push the people of Pakistan occupied Kashmir towards India, towards the plan of reintegration with India, and therefore it becoming easier for the people of Kashmir, people of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, to then come back to their roots, which is Jammu and Kashmir?
Thank you, Megha. Megha, the way I look at it is when we look at what we are referring to as Pakistan occupied Kashmir, there are two very distinct areas. One is that huge landmass of Gilgit Baltistan, and the second is that area of Mirpur Muzaffarabad, which is a much smaller area. And the methodologies in both and the dynamics in both are totally different. Now, when we are looking at Gilgit Baltistan, they were never Kashmiri speaking. It was the Mirpur Muzaffarabad area which was Kashmiri speaking. But Gilgit Baltistan, they had their own languages. You know, it was certainly not Kashmiri. Now, that was also one of the reasons why in 48, you know, when the ceasefire took place, we didn't really go beyond a certain point because Sheikh Abdullah that time was quite satisfied with what he had. Now, getting to the point of the military aspects of it, uh, ultimately, if the people are suppressed to that level by which they are forced to take up arms, then I think it will be very difficult for the Pakistan military to continue to suppress them by force. We will have a repeat of the situation which took place in 1971 in erstwhile East Pakistan, which then became Bangladesh. For the Pakistan military, then they would be, if the people revolt against the military and they are prepared to fight for their freedom, then I think it'll be every single Pakistani soldier there will have to watch his back. And that is very difficult to do in these mountains. Now, at that point of time, if an intervention by India takes place, uh, I'm absolutely certain that the Pakistan military will not be able to hold on for very long. So that is good. But ultimately, the first step will have to be taken by the people of the region. Now,
Absolutely.
no, just one small point. Earlier, they couldn't take that step because they were not sure of which way or what would happen to them. But now they're quite certain. You see, all their resources are being fed to the Punjabis down below. The electricity which is supplied there, they don't get the electricity. The power is going down. For whatever power they get, they are paying exorbitant rates, and they are generating the power. It is the same situation that happened in Balochistan, which produced the gas, but the gas was not available to the people of Balochistan. When we come to oppression of this nature, the people are going to revolt. Those signs have started. The revolt has started now, and we will see as to how it proceeds from here. But it will be unsustainable as far as the Pakistan military is concerned. Megha.
Amjad Ayub Mirza, how do you view these protests that have been happening sporadically but have been increasing in frequency in Pakistan occupied Kashmir? What does this say of the sentiment that people have on the ground?
Thank you very much, Megha. First of all, you should try and realize that we are under siege. Pakistan Army, Pakistan Commandos, Pakistani Ranger, Punjab Constabulary, Frontier Corps, everyone has descended upon this small area of 4,000 something square kilometers and have resorted to straight firing. Several of our youths have lost their lives, and so we are under siege. Now, there are people on your panel who have military background, and they might understand the situation when I describe it in military terms. Like, for instance, we are a platoon or a company that goes into battle at the front line, and then we suddenly realize that the enemy has got more artillery power than our platoon can handle. So they then wireless to the base and they ask for airstrikes so that those artillery can be neutralized. Now, if that air help does not arrive, the air force does not come and neutralize those cannons or that far superior in numbers of the enemy, then eventually that platoon will be eliminated by the enemy, one way or the other. Now, the situation in POJK is like this, that we are under siege. I have been issuing statement after statement after statement requesting the Indian government to act now. I have asked the Indian government and asked this question that why the Indian government and the Ministry of External Affairs has not summoned the Pakistan ambassador in Delhi and raised concerns about what is going on in POJK since the 9th of May. I have also raised this question as to why the United Nations representative has not been instructed to raise this issue in the United Nations. ये कहना तो बहुत आसान है कि ये POJK के लोग अब तैयार हैं और हम ऐसे ले लेंगे और वैसे ले लेंगे. I have worked tirelessly for 4 years to build a pro-Indian narrative in Pakistani occupied Jammu Kashmir. Today people are phoning me and saying, कहाँ है तुम्हारा मोदी, कहाँ है तुम्हारा इंडिया? एक statement नहीं जारी कर सक रहे आप. So the narrative in Pakistan, in Pakistani occupied Kashmir, from being anti-Pakistan and slightly tilting towards India as they view Indian Kashmir progress, is now reversing back, not towards Pakistan, but towards total independence of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. We are losing our argument in POJK.
Okay.
Because
That's
of the reluctance of the Indian government to stand ground at this time.
Very
this is a very
important
crucial
point.
moment,
Very
I'm telling you.
pertinent point.
I'm telling you, you lose the argument.
Rajan Khanna,
Quiet karna कि ये आ जाए, that's different.
Yeah, that's a very
आज
pertinent.
पूरे हिंदुस्तान के जनता को हमारे लिए सड़कों पे होना चाहिए था. Stop this killing. श्रीनगर से लेके जम्मू तक प्रोटेस्ट होने चाहिए थे solidarity के. वो हमारे लोगों को नजर नहीं आ रहे.
Do you think there are political obligations, limitations for the government of India at this point of time to act? There are elections that are taking place in our country. Do you think these limitations may have stopped the country to have made statements in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, or are there other reasons?
मुझसे पूछ रही हैं.
जी.
देखें, this is a attack. If you consider POJK Indian territory and if you consider us Indian citizens, then you should realize that we have been attacked by this is an invasion by Pakistan army. तो अगर ये अमृतसर में इन्वेजन हो जाए या ये जम्मू में इन्वेजन हो जाए पाकिस्तान आर्मी की, are you still going to say we'll wait till the elections are over? You will postpone the elections. जितने हो गए बाकी you will postpone them or try and find some way to address that attack. We don't see that. Number one. Number two, what obligations? What obligation? This was the time when India should have acted. You have already lost, I would say, 80% of that time that could have benefited the public opinion in POJK in favor of India.
Okay, Rajan Khanna,
by being reluctant.
Rajan Khanna, how do you have to comment to what Amjad Ayub Mirza says? You know, his argument is fair, his argument is right. When government comes out and says that POK is part of India and it always will be, how is it going to help matters at hand? The plight of people of Muzaffarabad of Pakistan occupied Kashmir is there for all to see.
Well, look, we made a documentary, Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir, the unfinished agenda 3-4 years ago, and that documentary was consistently telecasted on your esteemed channel also. Whatever points very assiduously and threadbare we had discussed in that documentary, I am very happy to know now our top leadership, it is echoing the same sentiments. Now, when we compare two parts of Kashmir, you start from Mirpur and go to Muzaffarabad, that is one stretch. Okay, and then the another stretch of Gilgit, Hunja, Baltistan. Everywhere in Pakistan, the discontent and their dissatisfaction, their disillusionment with the state of Pakistan is palpable. I'll tell you, we wanted to make one documentary, as we have already made on heritage of Kashmir, on those parts of our heritage, our cultural monuments which were lying in Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir. Sharda Peeth, there is no road from Muzaffarabad, no pliable road, it is all dirt track. Just see the difference of infrastructure here in our part of Jammu Kashmir, right from Kazigund to Baramulla. You see these carpet roads. Everything palpable. And you come to the education infrastructure, you come to the medical infrastructure, you just see aims are being made there. You see IIMs, IITs are being opened there, and when you see this voting percentage.
This talk is irrelevant to what is happening in POJK today.
I agree.
You seem to be living in a cuckoo's land.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Let me complete.
Let me get Professor Nalapat.
This is
Now,
not time
when a
to discuss
statement.
documentaries.
Yeah.
This is time to put pressure on the Indian government to issue statements.
Yeah. So,
This is
Professor
time to
Nalapat,
organize solidarity
while we continue to ask foreign media, United Nations to come all together and condemn this act of violence and perpetuation of violence on the people of Pakistan occupied Kashmir by the Pakistani authorities, there is a lack of strong statement coming in from the Indian side as well. As Amjad Ayub Mirza said, that a statement from the Ministry of External Affairs supporting POK would have gone a long way. So why are we at this point of time limiting ourselves? We talk about our leaders are coming out and speaking at these public rallies, at these public conferences, in the interviews that Pakistan occupied Kashmir has always been ours and always will remain so. But why the objection, why the hesitancy in speaking, going a step ahead and condemning the act?
Well, Megha, for one thing, the United Nations has done nothing about Kashmir that is helpful to the Kashmiri people and to the country they belong to, India. And secondly, if I may say so, these are statements not made by X or Y. They are statements made by the Home Minister of India, by the Prime Minister, by various top functionaries. And they, in that sense, each of them are part of the government of India. The Home Minister is not temporarily resigning as Home Minister, or the External Affairs Minister is not temporarily resigning External Affairs Minister. He's not making it as a citizen. He's making it as a minister. Both of them are. So I'd like to point that out. The third point is, one has to go when the circumstances are right. Now, in the case of what happened, across the board in Pakistan, there is discontent, including in that part of territory, it's Indian territory occupied by Pakistan. The army is now very thinly stretched. And frankly, this discontent is only growing. There's no question about it. So a time is going to come when this discontent reaches a stage when the military in Pakistan will be unable to handle it, because after all, it is basically supporting people of one particular region in one particular state.
Okay.
And that's all, one particular province. So that is the point of time, in my view, that is the time when what can happen, a lot of changes can happen in POJK, but you have to move at the right time. And if you don't move at the right time, you have a problem. You cannot act impulsively.
Okay, so that's the question that Amjad Ayub Mirza also continues to ask. When do you think the Indian polity will now decide is the right time? There are people who are being killed. There are protesters who are coming out. They don't have food to eat. They have been paying taxes. They don't have money to live. So, Ambassador Sajjanar, if you're still there with me on the telecast, how delicate a job it is for a diplomat to handle a situation such as this? Okay, he's not with us, but Major General Dhruv Katoch, the same question to you. Now, do we continue to wait for the right time? Is time right? There have been multiple protests, one after the other. Persecution of people living in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. If the Pakistani authorities are not on their side and they are a small bunch of people with a population of just a few thousand, who is going to pay heed to their plight? Who do they go to for support and succor?
No, I agree with you. And I appreciate the stand which Amjad Mirza Sahib has taken. So I've got no doubts about that. But when we are looking at a military option, many factors have to be considered. One, I take your mind back to what happened in 1971. It took a long time at that point in time for Indira Gandhi to actually build world opinion to this particular fact. You see, as to which way to go. Now, while Amjad Mirza says that every single citizen is is working for freedom, we really don't know that. We don't know what's the ground situation of the people. But one thing I can assure you, if the Pakistan military loses public support, they cannot hold on and that is the right time to move in. It is a matter, it is a question of decision. When? The timing is all important. Mr. Mirza thinks it should be now, but that may not be the correct time. You see, he's directly involved.
Okay, but then why not send feelers? Why not send feelers? Why just limit yourself to reserving 24 seats for Pakistan-occupied Kashmir? Why not make stern statements in public?
No, I think the stern statement, I would just like to say this. The stern statements have been made by three distinct functionaries, by the External Affairs Minister, by the Home Minister, and by the Prime Minister of India. They have made their statements, and these statements have been made for the first time at this level. So I think let's see how the situation develops. Something is going to happen.
Okay, all right. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. And on that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.